welcome everybody. I want to thank you for joining us today for our presentation on ILINX 5.4. My name is Kim Torres and I'm the marketing coordinator here at ImageSource, and I'm happy to introduce our speaker today, Randy Weekly. Randy, are you there?
I am here.
Fantastic. So Randy is the Vice President of Software Development here at ImageSource, and his responsibilities include the development and delivery of our ILINX product suite. Until recently, he held the same position at Oracle for their imaging and capture products. He has spent the last 25 years working in research, systems architecture, and technical leadership for Oracle predecessors, Optica and Celent, and has a variety of organizations including NASA, GTE, and MCI. We're going to be taking your questions today in the chat function feature there, probably on the right-hand side of your screen. And then you can also shoot us any questions you might have on our Twitter or on our Facebook. Randy will answer the questions at the after the demo portion of our webinar today. With that, Randy, I'm going to hand things over to you to get started on our webinar today.
Great. Thank you, Kim. And thank you, everyone, for taking time out of your day to spend some time with us. And we're really excited. Today we have a really great topic. It's the ILINX 5.4 release, which we shipped right at the end of October. And I'll apologize in advance because we're going to have to go very fast. There is so much to cover today, and we're really just going to hit the highlights. There are dozens of other features in the 5.4 release that we won't get a chance to talk about today. But to kick things off, I want to frame up how the individual products within the ILINX suite work together so that we have a little bit of better understanding as we move through the presentation and the demos. We're really going to focus in on the capture features first, and then I'll do a demo of those features. Then we'll move to Content Store, and then I'll do a demo of those features. And then we'll kind of close out the webinar today with an overview of some of the other features in the other ILINX products, and then as Kim mentioned, we'll do a Q&A. So every complete enterprise content management suite includes individual products and modules that perform different content management operations, and some of these products are generic in nature and some are very specialized. So let's walk through a quick overview of the ILINX product suite so you can see, at least at a high level, how the individual products fit together and how they work together. The ILINX suite has 4 core content management products, starting with ILINX Capture. This is our web-based enterprise document scanning capture product. The next one is ILINX Content Store. This is our enterprise content repository, also completely web-based. ILINX eForms is our electronic forms product that allows you to replace your paper forms and manual processing with a fully automated electronic forms solution. Now, all 3 of these ILINX flagship products have been featured multiple times in ImageSource webinars this year. So if you'd like more information, please check out the website for recordings of those webinars. And finally, ILINX Advanced Report Management, or ARM, is a brand new product for the 5.4 release. ILINX ARM processes large print streams, or sometimes called enterprise reports, into more accessible and usable content. And we'll talk more about ILINX ARM here in just a few minutes. But today we're really going to focus on these core products. The ILINX suite also contains 4 specialized capture add-on modules. ILINX Capture Email Import is our integration with Microsoft Outlook. This allows users to onboard email and attachments directly into your enterprise workflow or content management systems. ILINX Zonal Recognition is a new product for the 5.4 release, and we'll cover that in more detail in just a few minutes. ILINX Format Converter helps you do all kinds of cool content transformations and manipulations from within your capture workflows. And the last ILINX Capture add-on is ILINX Release, which allows you to distribute content from your capture workflows to ILINX Content Store and numerous other content management systems. And rounding out the ILINX product suite, we have 3 middleware products. And these help you connect critical systems and content within your enterprise. So ILINX Export can extract content from multiple repositories like Oracle Web Center and IPM, EMC App Extender, IBM FileNet, directly from databases and other sources. ILINX Import picks up content from either the file system or your email server and then pushes that content into ILINX Capture or ILINX Content Store, Kofax, Web Center, IPM, and other targets. Now, both of these products also have the ability to do some massaging of the content as it flows through onto its final destination. And finally, ILINX Integrate allows you to share content and data between virtually any two applications with zero coding. And unlike ILINX Export and Import, which are really back-end processors, ILINX Integrate operates right on the user's desktop, and it's a perfect technology to do what we call content enabling of line of business applications. So I hope that gives you kind of a high-level understanding of the individual products and kind of how they fit together within the ILINX content management suite. So if you've attended any of my other webinars, I'm sure you've heard me quote statistics from the Association for Information and Image Management, or AIM. This is one of my favorite organizations. They've been around, believe it or not, since 1943, and they really deliver some solid and unbiased information and some trends and insights into the needs of information professionals today. And every year they do this survey to see where companies are with their enterprise content management initiatives and projects and their future plans and priorities. Now, in this 2011 survey, you'll see that efficiency and optimizations, as well as compliance and risk mitigation, top the list of content project priorities. Now, this year, the survey showed similar results, but you can see that compliance and risk management needs have really increased in priority. And these trends and priorities are some of the key factors that drove the ILINX 5.4 feature set. Now, of course, feedback from our great customers is always a huge factor when we prioritize our features. And if you're wondering, this is actually not a picture of me, but when you talk to me, I do hold my hand to my ear just like that. All right, let's talk about some of the key ILINX Capture features in the 5.4 release. Now, it's very possible that as you're building out your enterprise capture deployments, you're going to uncover unique requirements specific to your business that no capture product is going to be able to satisfy right out of the box. You maybe need to tap into some specialized system for some tax rates or special tax calculations. Maybe you need to auto-generate a specific customer correspondence email or call a web service to determine who the next person is in an approval chain. With ILINX Capture 5.4, the client extension framework, you now have the power to create really unlimited custom extensions that will help you to streamline your specific capture and indexing operations. This 5.4 extension framework is a very rich environment that allows you to create any type of custom validation logic, do any type of calculations on your index information, or deliver any type of integrations you need. And these custom extensions are really going to drive some productivity enhancements throughout your organization, and they can even help with some of your compliance initiatives. Now, bear with me just a minute. I want to talk about a couple of technical features that make ILINX Capture a little different than some of the other capture products out there today. Now, most of the other products will use for their extension framework an interpreted scripting language, but ILINX uses compiled VB.NET or C# modules for maximum performance. And you can create these extensions directly from within ILINX Capture's coding environment, or you can use the Microsoft Visual Studio shell project that we provide along with the product. The extension framework exposes 10 different user events that you can respond to with your extension modules as well. And I'll show you a couple of examples that I cooked up during the demo section. The ILINX Capture Zonal Recognition module, this is new for ILINX 5.4. It can help you automate the extraction of information from your structured documents. And this will allow you to reduce or eliminate the manual indexing of that type of information. Now, I want to be clear, this technology is for extracting information from highly structured documents like the scans of paper forms. This is not a solution for unstructured content or even semi-structured content, such as invoices or resumes or contracts. Now, it's very quick and easy to configure the separation and extraction rules for each of your document types using the point-and-click setup tools in the Capture admin interface. And during the demo, you'll see how easy it is to configure these extraction rules and to test them, to examine the OCR confidence information that comes back, and to map the extracted information into your document index fields. Now, hopefully everybody on the call has a dedicated development and possibly even a test system that you use to build and validate your configuration changes before you roll them into your production environment. In ILINX Capture 5.4, you now have a robust test to production, or T2P we call it, migration utility. And this utility allows you to reduce the risks associated with migrating configuration changes from one environment to another. And this T2P utility allows you to export your configurations as an XML file, which can then be imported in a target system, or you can push the configurations directly into your target ILINX Capture database. Now, the XML exports is pretty cool because it allows you to easily move configurations across multiple systems. So for instance, I could export from my dev system, I could move that and import it into a test system, then on into a user acceptance test system, and then finally roll that into production. With this ILINX Capture migration utility, you don't have to move your entire system. You can pick and choose only the batch profiles and the security elements that you actually need to migrate. ILINX Capture 5.4 workflow received a handful of really nice enhancements as well, and I'll show you in the demo how you can now assign security down to the individual batch field and individual document index field. For each and every one of your human activities, those configurations can be unique. So you can now hide individual index fields or make them read-only or make them required based on individual security groups. And so this capability really allows you to fine-tune your workflow user experience for optimized security and productivity. In 5.4, you can now configure security to provide individual groups with access to the centralized processing and error queues within your workflow. And these settings can be based on individual batch profiles as well. We've also enhanced the capture reporting capabilities to provide better visibility into individual workflow queues and user activity. So these reports can help you identify bottlenecks in your workflow and in your workforce. And if you recall from the beginning of the presentation, ILINX Capture has several add-on products, and I wanted to mention some of the additions to the ILINX Capture release product. In 5.4, we've added some new conversion capabilities, specifically to zip and XML, and we've enhanced support for EMC and IBM repositories, and we also now provide a direct release mechanism from Kofax Capture into ILINX Content Store. The ILINX Capture email import is also an add-on product to ILINX Capture, and for 5.4 we've enhanced the product's navigation, some of the user experience aspects of the product, and updated it to work with the latest Office products. But really, I just wanted to make you aware of this incredible productivity enhancement tool. ILINX Capture email import allows knowledge workers anywhere in your organization to easily onboard emails and attachments directly into your ILINX Capture system, right from within Microsoft Outlook. The email bodies automatically converted into a PDF, and attachments are extracted from the email and placed within the batch. Now, you can have users leverage the familiar and very powerful indexing capabilities of ILINX Capture, or you can configure the system to automatically extract properties directly from the email itself and then automatically populate the index fields. All right, so let's hop over to my demo system. And I want to start off in Capture. This is ILINX Capture 5.4. A lot of this will probably feel familiar to you. And I've actually showed some of the client extension stuff in previous webinars, but we're going to drill into it a little bit more. I have, let's see, invoice processing. So I'm going to go into the client side extension tool here. I've got barcodes and I've also got extensions. This is where I have coded some custom integration, some custom extensions here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but I just wanted to briefly show you. I'm going to illustrate two examples of client-side extension. The first one, we're going to generate an email when we submit a batch. And so I've got, 8 or 10 lines of code here that'll do that and populate that with some batch information. And then I've got about 15 or 20 lines of code here that's going to do some tax calculations and some summing of some invoice information for us. So let's just take a look at what, see what that looks like. So I'm going to create a new batch. This is our invoice processing batch. And I'm going to go out and grab a sample document here. It doesn't matter what it is. Grab an invoice. Okay, now as I go into the indexing panel here, expand that so we can see it a little better. So I can do things, type my standard invoice number, pick an invoice date, throw in an amount here, and then I've got a supplier lookup. I'll grab lending tree here. And so that's I've shown this in some webinars. This is our standard database lookup capability. It allows you to tap into a CRM system or a financial system to pull information into this indexing process to speed the indexing up as well as ensure accuracy. So in this example, I've gone back to my system and I pulled a tax rate out of my sample database. And then I'm just going to, let's see, I'm just going to throw some samples in here. This is just junk data. It's a lot of gumbo. All right. Now when I click in the subtotal field, it's going to invoke the custom script that I showed you earlier, that's 15 lines of code or so, and it's going to loop through my table there of information that I've input about my invoice, those line items, and it's going to calculate my subtotal. Then it's going to take the tax rate that I pulled from my back-end database and apply a calculation to that subtotal to calculate my tax. And then finally, down in the total field, it'll add both of those up and populate my total field. All right, so then I could submit that batch. So that's just an example of a couple of, well, that's actually one of them. Let's go ahead and submit the batch, and we'll invoke this. The second one I showed you, which is going to generate an email back to the supplier, and it's just includes some sample information that was part of that document, the invoice number, the date, and the amount, and then it's in my native email client where I have access to all my Outlook contacts in my customer base. All right, next let's take a look at the zonal recognition piece, and we're going to actually configure one of these from scratch. So I have a batch profile here, and we'll go into the workflow for the quote sheet batch profile. You can see this is just a minimal workflow here. And I'm going to grab the advanced capture activity, which is actually the zonal recognition activity. Wire this up real quick. And then I just click on the configure button. Now this is going to invoke the zonal recognition configuration screen. The first thing that it's going to ask me to do is connect to my zonal recognition service. Now this can be installed separately from the rest of my ILINX system. So as you know, doing these OCR operations is fairly CPU and memory intensive, and so you may want to move this service off to a different machine to take advantage of some horsepower or to just separate that processing. So I've connected to my system here, and I'm going to click on the quotes, which is a document within this batch profile. And the first thing I need to do is bring a template into this environment so that I can actually configure this recognition. So I have a template. Whoop, wrong folder. Okay, so this is just a sample that I genned up. It could be a sales quote from my organization, Big R Consulting here, that my people generate through some customer service application and then send out to the customer for a signature. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a separation zone. And I always know that my company name is going to be right there in the top left. So I'm just going to separate on that. Now in this screen, what it did is it took a snippet of that image, sent it to the server, and it was OCR'd, and then the information was brought back. And in this case, it recognized it fine. Now it said that it was only 50% confident on one of those characters, but it did it right, so I'm pretty sure that it's going to work. So I'm going to say, yeah, the expected text is big R, and we're good there for separation. Next thing I'm going to do is add an index zone. So I want the quote date, so I'm going to grab that. And it's important to make those zones as big as possible, just to take into consideration, some fluctuations as those documents are being scanned. And I'm going to grab that value and stick it into the quoted date index field for this document type. I also want to grab the expiration date. And I will put that in the expired date field. And lastly, I'm going to grab the company name. And I'm going to make this one pretty big in case that company name grows. And this goes into company. Okay. Now, I could also upload some test files, and I could run through a series of tests. We don't really have time for that, so we'll just test it live. I apply those workflow changes. Go back to my capture tab, and that was the quotes sheet. And I'm just going to grab, have a batch of quotes here. Just drop those right in the interface. So you can see these are 4 different quote documents. The system at this point doesn't even know what type of document they are, and of course all the index information, well, I'm not going to do that because that'll have to assign a document type. We'll let the system decide the document type and then extract that information. So while the system's off doing that in the background and that's flowing through our workflow, I wanted to show you really quickly the new reporting capabilities that are in Capture. So this report tab, which can be secured so that only certain groups see it, shows every single batch profile in my system. I'm an admin, so I see them all. This isn't very exciting information. This is just my demo system, so there's not a lot going on here except what I do manually. But this just gives you a little bit of an idea. Here's invoice processing. That's the one that we demoed earlier. And this interface allows me to select some date criteria. I can choose date ranges to see activity, where things are, what's been created, what's been finished or released, how many batches are in progress, and which work queues they're in. I can also go over here to this user productivity and select a particular user within my system. Jim's the only one that's got any workflow right now, but I could select any number of my users and see what they've been doing in the invoice processing batch profile for any given date range, and I can print and email those reports as well. All right, so let's go back over to our workflow. Let me refresh this, and hopefully we will have a quote sheet here. And if we look at this, so you'll see that the system has identified this is a quotes document. It has burst that document into 4 individual single-page documents, which is exactly what we wanted. And then we can go through each one of these documents here and check this out. Denver Painting on 10/17, yep, that's right. We got Mile High Dentistry on the 22nd, that's right. We got Desert Dry Wally, so we got an I instead of an L there, which will happen occasionally. And then we have Aberdeen Dairy. So that's just a quick and dirty example of what you could do with the zonal applied to a form-based document. Okay, let me switch over to my virtual machine here. If I can find it. I just wanted to quickly show you the ILINX Capture email import and that functionality. So here's Outlook 2013. And I sent myself an email. This is a bill of lading that needs to be processed very quickly. So I can just right-click on this email, and now I have an ILINX Capture email import option. So it's going to invoke that integration. It's going to ask me where what type of document I'm putting into the system here. And this is a bill of lading from Outlook. And this batch profile has been configured to extract information directly from that email. So we've pulled out the mail to, mail from, the subject, and the receive date. So you see here on the right panel is the PDF. This is the actual email itself that we've just converted to PDF. We also have an attachment, which is the bill of lading. So if we go back into the indexing panel, I can provide standard information. I also have configured a database lookup here from the sender of this email so that when I tab out of here, I go back into my customer, my CRM system and pull customer information, my information, and populate this index field. So I'm grabbing the customer and address and phone number and things like that. Now, as I mentioned, this could all be done automatically so that the user just simply hits submit and we go grab all that information for them. All right, let's jump back into the PowerPoint. All right, so that was ILINX Capture 5.4 high-level features. Let's talk about ILINX Content Store 5.4 features. So at the beginning of the presentation, you'll remember that AIM is seeing, based on their survey, significant increases in the priority of compliance and risk mitigation projects across their entire community. And while we definitely agree that there's more of a need for compliance and risk mitigation, we're finding that most companies we talk to are concerned about the costs and the complexities of implementing a traditional or specialized records management product. So in our 5.4 release, we've added some powerful new document retention management capabilities that we really feel are going to satisfy a vast majority of your content retention needs. These capabilities make it very easy for you to define content retention rules based on either system metadata or your own custom metadata. There are also options for how you want to dispose of the content. You can delete everything, so there's no record at all of the purged content, and that's very typical, or you can delete the document and keep the metadata, or vice versa. You can even replace purged documents with a boilerplate document so that users know why and when a particular piece of content was destroyed. And the system can do all of this completely unattended, in the back end, completely behind the scenes, or you can configure automated email notifications and approval requirements for any of your individual retention plans. Now, the ability to effectively manage and support collaborative content is another key area that we've been working on. And in ILINX Content Store 5.4, you now have full document version management, including checkout, check-in, major, minor revisions, and required comments. And you can access the complete version history for any document directly from the interface here shown on the screen. And from here you can do things like discard a checkout. You can restore an older version of the document to the new version. And you can also secure all this versioning capability and history so that only specific groups within your organization have access to the older versions of the documents. We've added a checked out to me quick navigation node so that you'll never forget what documents you have checked out and locked in the system. The ILINX notebooks allow you to select any number of documents within your ILINX Content Store system and download a completely secure and encrypted mini content store system that runs right on your laptop. And you can interact with a notebook just like you interact with the full content store system. You can scan new documents, check in, check out, annotate images, search, email, but you can do all of this completely detached and offline. And then all of the changes that you've made to a notebook can be synchronized back into your production ILINX content store once you're reconnected to your network. Now, another great use case for the notebooks is for auditors. They need access to some of your content, but you don't really want them poking around in your system. So with ILINX 5.4, you can now create a notebook for them that is read-only. So there's no way that they can accidentally push changes back into your core system. You can also time bomb a notebook so that once the expiration date passes, there is no way to get at the content within that notebook. In addition to the checked out to me quick access node that I mentioned just a second ago, we've also added a pinned docs node where you can keep track of any number of documents that you need to come back to and access quickly. All right, let's move into a demonstration of ILINX Content Store 5.4. Okay, so this interface should look and feel pretty much the same. Actually, you know what? Before I show you the interface, let's go to my virtual machine here. I want to show you the records management stuff because I'm really excited about this particular capability that we just added. So I have previously created an invoice file plan, so I won't bore you with walking through that process, but it's actually quite fast, and we'll just step through a couple of these first screens. These are the real guts right here, the retention management settings. In the first list here, we see all of the available date parameters for this particular document type invoices that I've selected, and this is a combination of system date fields and user-defined date fields. Now, typically what you probably would do would use the system-defined field, the entered date, but just so we can demo it here, I'm using a date that I created, the invoice date, so that we can go in and spoof some data pretty easily. So I can select my criteria older than, equal to, or even newer than, specify a value, and then I get to say this is 7 years, months, weeks, or days, or whatever value I want to put in there. And so that's great. That'll help me identify my older content or content. I could use modified date. Maybe I'm just looking for stale content. But I can also apply additional conditions. And here I've listed all of the user-defined fields for my invoices application. So one thing I just kind of genned up here is I have a status field. And this is a pick list. And so if I drop this, those are all the pick list values that are defined in Content Store. And so I just wanted to give you an example here. So this rule is going to identify content where the invoice date is older than 7 years, but if there is any piece of content where the status value equals legal hold, I don't want to touch that. So the system will bypass those values. Now I have a tracking field where the system will put information back into a field of my choosing. It's optional as to the retention management status of that document, whether it is pending approval for deletion or whether it has actually been deleted. I have a test button here. Now there's nothing in my system. We'll fix that in just a second. But this would allow me to see, based on the rule that I just defined or is in the dialog, how many pieces of information would be identified for retention management operations. Now I've got options to delete metadata documents, and I can replace the document with that boilerplate image that I talked about earlier. I also have the notification set up. So this will allow me to say, I don't actually want the system to do it automatically. I want to notify my document management person who's responsible for enforcing my retention rules, and then that gives them the opportunity to go review the documents that are going to be purged and then approve them so that the system can go ahead and take care of those. Or, as I mentioned, they may go back in and mark something for a hold. So let's do a quick demo here of that. And let's see, first we have to go back to my demo system. Sorry about that. And we need to find an invoice that we can doctor up so that it will meet that criteria. So let's see, what do we have here? Let's take Rattlesnake Canyon. I'm going to update the index fields. And I'm going to set that invoice date. Oh, it is to 2000. Well, let's do this one. Okay. Well, these both should be identified then for records management. Oh, sorry, I'm picking removed ones. So you can see in this field here, I've set the record retention management system to put the status in the notes field. So apologize. Let me just capture a new one real quick here. So we'll grab an invoice. Doesn't matter what it is. And this will be our test vendor, and we'll select an invoice date, and then I'm going to change that year to 2000. Okay. So now there's our sample document. The invoice date is what we're keying our retention rules off of, so anything older than 7 years. So let me go back to my system here. We'll make sure that's set to run, and then I'm impatient, so we will just restart our export service. And the first thing it does when it starts up is execute its retention rules. And I forgot to draw your attention over here to my email client. We just received an email. I'll open that up. This was automatically sent to me by the export retention management rules, and this would go to my document retention manager within my organization, who can then click on that link and come into this interface and see the documents that are pending or ready to be dealt with from the document retention management perspective. So I may go take a look at those documents, but I just happen to know that those are fine. So we will confirm those records for removal. And again, we'll just bounce this so that we don't have to wait to the next polling cycle. So now if we go back to our system, our test document, if we look at that, let me rerun that. Okay, so what you saw there earlier was it was flagged for removal. I restarted the export server, so it reran its job after we had approved the disposition of that document. And so now if I look at this, I don't see that invoice that we checked in earlier. I see my boilerplate image that explains to me my retention policies. You can put, of course, this is your document to construct, and put whatever information in there you need. Okay, just real quickly, let's go back here. I wanted just to show you the checked out to me. These are all the documents within the system that I currently have checked out. Here's one that has 13 different entries, so that's pretty active. Let's look at the version history. This is a record of all of the check-ins and check-outs and who did them and when, along with their comments. Now, if something happened and the last person to check this document in actually shouldn't have done that, I can restore this previous version to the latest version with a single click. So that's really kind of a nice feature there. All right, so let's hop back into our PowerPoint. So we've talked about the ILINX Capture 5.4 features. We've demoed a couple of those. We've just talked about the content store features, demoed a couple of those. So let's take a look at some of the other ILINX product features and enhancements for 5.4. Now, if you're not familiar with ILINX eForms, this is an electronic forms product. I just want to talk to you real briefly about some of the benefits of using the ILINX eForms product and converting your existing paper forms into an automated, very streamlined electronic form solution. So ILINX eForms can save significant time by eliminating rekeying from your paper forms into your line of business applications. And by doing this, it can also vastly improve your data quality because it eliminates that whole rekeying process and the errors that are definitely going to happen during that process. Additionally, the ILINX eForm product provides creation time, input validation, and database lookups so that you're ensuring that the information that's being put into the system in the first place is correct. Now, obviously, another benefit would be to eliminate the costs of printing, scanning, and storing all of the completed paper forms. And AIM says that's somewhere around $3.50 per form. Paperwork in general, but specifically rekeying information, is dull and it's expensive. So engage your employees in higher value activities like seeing more patients or handling more claims or serving more constituents. This eForms system allows you to make better decisions faster with access to near real-time information. You can also manage and monitor the data input process more efficiently using the built-in reporting and analysis tools. And of course, you can reduce your carbon footprint with a paperless process. So we've done a couple of webinars focused on ILINX eForms. So if you want some more information, you can check out those recorded webinars on the website or just contact us directly if you'd like more information. Specifically for the 5.4 release in ILINX eForms, we've added some great new enhancements, including native pinch zoom type of operations and swiping for moving from page to page on touch devices. There are improvements in form appearance for iOS and Android tablets that more accurately model your paper forms look and feel. And we've added some additional client-side validation and business logic scripting options as well. And lastly, we've enhanced the integration with your device's built-in camera so that you can do things like capture multiple images in a single form and even extract information out of a barcode image automatically. With ILINX 5.4, we've introduced a new product called ILINX Advanced Report Management. I mentioned this one earlier. This product allows you to extract, reformat, disseminate, and leverage information that's currently locked up in report print streams. These are often referred to as enterprise reports, or back in the day, these were referred to as computer output to Laserdisc or cold reports. And these print streams typically originate from an ERP system or CRM system or some type of customer billing system. And you can see down in the bottom right there, this information came from an AIM survey that was done earlier this year. Many companies still deal with this type of content. And it includes raw print stream formats, advanced print stream formats like AFP and Metacode and PCL, as well as reports that are generated in PDF. With ILINX ARM, you can automatically extract valuable information from these print streams, burst and reformat the reports into easily consumed individual documents. ILINX ARM can even add graphics and watermarks into these output documents so that they look exactly like the printed paper output, which may have been printed on a corporate letterhead or some type of pre-printed paper. And then these document sets can be delivered directly to your content management system where they can be leveraged across your entire organization. ILINX Export is one of the middleware products we talked about earlier. It can extract content from Oracle Web Center, IPM, App Extender, FileNet, databases, and some other sources and deliver this content to multiple destinations. For 5.4, it's the ILINX Export that actually provides that heavy lifting for the document retention management capabilities that we just demoed and heard about in ILINX Content Store. And these same capabilities can be used for the Oracle IPM 10G system as well. Now, if you think these retention capabilities would be valuable to use against your content management system that may be something different than ILINX Content Store or Oracle IPM 10G, contact us. Let us know, and maybe we can work out a solution to use this capability against your existing repository. ILINX Import is another middleware product. This also received some enhancements for 5.4, including the ability to do encrypted email connections and import from your email server, optimizations for parallel job processing, and the ability to audit information directly to a database. So we have covered a lot of information in this webinar. So quickly, on ILINX Capture 5.4, we have added robust client extension framework. This framework allows you to create any type of specialized integration that you need. We've added zonal recognition to automatically separate and extract information from your structured documents, your form documents, a test to production migration tool that helps you confidently manage changes to your production environment, and multiple capture workflow enhancements that will help you fine-tune your security and your user experience to help you monitor and improve your content onboarding processes. With ILINX Content Store 5.4, we've added very powerful new document retention management capabilities that will help you lower your compliance risks and costs. Everyone knows that they need to address this type of content compliance, but no one really wants to. And now you can tackle these projects very quickly and easily. You can now effectively manage dynamic and collaborative content with complete version management capabilities. You can provide safe and secure mechanisms for your mobile workforce to work offline and detached from your enterprise using the enhanced ILINX Notebook capability. And we touched on just a few of the many productivity enhancements in 5.4. So I hope you're kind of excited about the new ILINX 5.4 release. We're very excited about it, and I hope you're already thinking about some of those pending projects that maybe just got a lot easier with some of these capabilities. So please let us know if we can help you get upgraded to this new 5.4 baseline so you can start leveraging these new capabilities today. And one of the best ways that we can engage with you on that is through our unique ECM ecosystem methodology. This methodology leverages ImageSource's 20 years of experience partnering with hundreds of customers to deliver mission-critical solutions. And solutions not just based on the ILINX products, but also on Oracle and IBM FileNet, Kofax, and other technologies. The methodology starts with a detailed interview process, then a comprehensive analysis of your current systems and processes, the creation of an in-depth report detailing your current environment, and our collaborative vision for the future, all wrapped up and delivered with a final presentation. So whether you just want to upgrade from ILINX 5.0 to 5.4 or develop a comprehensive long-term enterprise content management roadmap, this proven methodology can help you define achievable content management strategies for your organization. So that ends our presentation portion. Let's open it up now for some questions.
Good job, Randy. Hey, we did get a few questions in, actually, so I'm going to start with the first one. How difficult is it to upgrade to 5.4?
Upgrading to 5.4, okay, so it depends on where you're at right now. Now, if you're on an ILINX 5.0 release, Capture Content Store, that upgrade is extremely easy. It's basically point and click. If you're coming from an older environment, maybe a Capture 4X or older, then there are some changes that will need to be made to some of your batch profiles, workflows, things like that. If you're coming from maybe even a completely different system, of course, then the best way to really figure that out, what that's going to look like so you can plan accurately for that, is to engage us, have us come in and take a look at where you're at and where you want to go. But in general, that migration is very straightforward.
Great, Randy. Next one is, are there ways to suspend the retention management operations on a specific set of documents?
Yeah, that's a great question, because you know, you don't want the system just deleting stuff out from under you that you're not really aware of, and there may be cases where you need to stop those things from happening. So let's see, there's a couple of options. I mentioned that the retention management capability really is performed by ILINX export. And so from just a pure export perspective, there's a lot of job controls that you can do. You can set when they run, you can disable jobs. So you can turn off a specific job for a specific application. And then I also kind of touched on the ability to define some criteria for those dispositions that's based on your own metadata that you've created. And so you can create a status field, or maybe it's something that you've already got in your application, and you can say, I want to go ahead and delete everything except those documents that have this specific field value. And in my mock-up there, I just set a status field, and I think it was called legal hold. And so the retention rules will run, but they will exclude those documents. So that's another way that you can do that to make sure that you have a capability to permanently retain certain pieces of content.
Hey, Randy, next one, we've got a few more here. I was hoping for one new feature in particular, but didn't hear you talk about it. How can I get more information about whether a specific feature will be in a future release?
That's a really good question, and we just did not have time to cover everything. There were literally hundreds of features added to the 5.4 release. You know, some of them large ones like we talked about, some of them smaller, some. So if you have specific questions, please contact us directly or contact me directly, and we can talk about that. And if you have some feature requests, you can either log a support ticket and just you know, let them know what kind of feature you're looking for and why you need it, why it's important to your business, or you can contact us directly or contact me directly with that information. We honestly do appreciate that type of feedback and that type of interaction.
And of course, they can, you know, always talk to their account rep too there, Randy. So
absolutely,
that's a way that they can reach out. Couple more. Any capture or content mobile apps?
Oh, yes, and I didn't touch on any of that today. There are currently Android and iOS apps available for ILINX Capture that are out in the app stores. They've actually been out for a couple of years. We're in the process of revamping those, and so we're going to add some really slick capabilities to both of those. I want to say you'll see those in the first half of next year. So we definitely have had some effort applied towards those, and we'll continue that, and then hopefully we'll see some of those new capabilities here in the next few months.
Okay, and then one more. Can I hide specific document values from certain groups in my workflow?
Hides? Yes, yes. So in 5.4, in your workflow, you can go into each one of your human activities, and you can go into the security settings, and in those, oh, and I should have demoed that, and I didn't, I apologize. And you can select a document type, and then for that particular selected user group, you can specify for each field of your document type whether that field is even visible, whether it's read-only, whether it's required. So this would help you as documents or batches flow through your workflow. You can tune that user experience. If there's information you don't need them to see or don't want them to see, you can hide that. And so that they're really dealing with just the certain number of fields that are important to them at that step in the workflow. And it may go on to a manager for approval, and you may want to open that up and let them see all of the fields for that document type. Or you may even want to hide entire document types from certain user groups. So with 5.4, you have a lot of flexibility to do exactly what you asked, to be able to hide and control the presentation of batch fields and individual document index fields throughout your workflow.
If anybody has any additional questions, again, you can always send them to Randy, contact your account rep, or you can also use our social media outlets to send us any questions that you have. And I want to thank everybody again for joining us, and we look forward to having you on the next presentation. Have a great day.